this side?
Say?
Should be this side. Okay. Stop. I know it's, okay. We'll call this meeting of the Guam Election Commission to order. It is Thursday, March 21st, 2024. It is now 5:33, and we are located here at the Oka Building at the Guam Election Commission Conference Room in Tamuning. We are also live streamed on GEC's website at gec.guam.gov/board. A certification of quorum, Maria? We have quorum. Myself, Jerry Crisosimo, Chair. Joe Mafnas, our Vice Chair, is present. Commissioner Ricky Orsini. Commissioner Benny Panala. Also present is our legal counsel, Vince Camacho, and our Executive Director, Maria Pangilinan. Excused absence is Commissioner Antonio Gamatauto, Commissioner Pat Seville, and Commissioner Joe Meno. Okay, certification of public notice requirements.
Public notice was in the Guam Daily Post on March 14th and March 18th.
Okay. Approval of agenda. I guess they're subject to a correction here, right? On the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry, the approval of the agenda for February 15th.
That's the minutes. Yeah, so. No. So is there a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, motion by Commissioner Panalo. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Orsini. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay, approval of the minutes, item number 4. We have the minutes of February 15th. And there is a correction to that, right? Okay, so I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the February 15th meeting subject to correction.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move a motion to approve the minutes of February 15, subject to correction.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Panala to accept the minutes subject to correction. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Orsini. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 5, correspondences.
Mr. Chairman, so correspondence A and B were our invitations for the public hearings. And so A and B had to do with the cybersecurity, I believe, and the emergency meetings. So it was, GEC did not participate. It was the likes of the Office of Technology and the cybersecurity folks out of both. The cybersecurity was like technology, and then the emergency meetings. I mean, we watched it on the live stream.
Okay. I just want to recognize Commissioner Pat Seville has joined us. And then item C.
So we received an announcement that there's a grant for the Federal Voting Assistance Program. Mr. Chair, we're still looking at it. The deadline is in April. So Tomas and I are trying to figure out if we have a chance to apply for it.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners?
I have a question.
Sure, Commissioners Orsini.
Just to clarify, we didn't provide any testimony for the February 29th or March 6th
No, ma'am.
hearings? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 6, Executive Director's Report.
Okay, so 112 folks have picked up packets, and I need to, in front of you, you'll see that there are 15 who have submitted packets, but I have to remove one because we're missing one document that needs to be corrected. The document was submitted, but later on, we found out through legal counsel that that document needs to be corrected. So we still are waiting for the corrected document. Okay, and this has been, this log was updated this afternoon of those who had picked up. Okay, with regard to the Government of Guam Retirement Fund election, we have the director of the retirement fund has told us that the 4 who submitted packets are qualified to run. So 2 retirees are Ms. Angelina Leon Guerrero and Mr. George Santos, and the 2 active members are Mr. Artemio Hernandez and Mr. Thomas San Agustin. Early voting for the GovGuam retirement election will take place starting April 29th, and the election is on May 4th.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, moving on to item B, monthly voter by precinct report.
Okay, so come page 24, we have 57,047 voters, okay? And if you look at the voter by precinct report, you're going to see that 1 Jotnia, Chalampago, Manilao, Dedido, and Jigo all have precincts that have over 1,000. So, so in Dedido, we will increase by 1 precinct. In Jigo, we will also increase by 1 precinct. In Manilao, Mr. Chair, if we're looking at it, and I'd like to ask legal counsel, we know that 1,000, the law says it cannot be substantially over 1,000. So, 800. 800.
Yeah.
So he made it clear to me that 1,000 is extremely over
Beyond.
800, all right? So, but I was looking at the ones that were over 1,000, and if you look at page 24, you see as of February 25th that the 5 villages are over, there are 5 villages that are over 1,000.
Yeah.
So we've looked at those and we're trying to do it so that we're just about at 900 for them. And of course, that's going to increase our cost of the elections, because then we increase the number of precincts, we increase the number of precinct officials. Pass it out. And so this is what Anna's going to show you is what we've come up with based on the current February 25th numbers.
So you're talking about, like in Dedido, we have 2 polling sites, and you're going to
Yes.
add, how many precincts?
We
To
had
either of those?
15, so we're going to add 1. So if you look at page 24 of our packet, there were, it's up to letter N as in Nancy.
Yep. Okay. And then what is this, this report? that you
Okay,
just
so
handed out?
this tells you that in Dedido, we're going to go to 18-0 now. Okay? In Jigo, page 24 says we're at F, so now we're going to G.
G.
No? Okay. So one of the, in line with the law, this is our proposed realignment, precinct realignment.
And we're looking at 5, potentially 5, there's 5 villages that are over.
Right. 1,
right,
2,
that you're going to have
3,
to add a
4,
precinct.
5, yes. Mangilao is,
We're just
I'm sorry,
adding-
it should, I'm sorry, Mangilao is 2, I believe. And it should be E and
E
F.
and F, right? You have EE.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner Pat.
So Manila is 2, Delito's 1, Jigo's 1, Chalampago 1, Jotnia 1?
Hungan.
Yeah.
And Jotnia should be C.
Yep. And these are, this is based on registered voters.
As of February 25th.
Not voter turnout,
Ahi at nai.
which will probably be 30%. Okay, any questions from the commissioners? So they'll be adding, there's 5 villages affected: Jornia, Chalampago, Manilao, Derrido, and Jigo. And we'll be adding an additional 1 precinct in Jornia and Chalampago, 2 in Manilao, 1 in Derrido, and 1 in Jigo.
Yeah.
Yeah, to align with the law of
And
beyond
the,
800.
if you look at Jotnia and Chalampago, we took, they're a little less than 800, but we're only in February, and
Yeah.
so March, April, May, this again may look, but now's the time to do the realignment to make sure that we can accommodate all of them. Vince and I talked about asking permission to go to the legislature to change the law, but at this point in time, I'd like to know what the commissioners' thoughts are on that as well. To simply change it from 800 to 1,000, and our
increase it,
reasoning-
you mean?
To increase it. And our reasoning is there's early voting now, so the lines on election day will not be as bad because of early voting.
Well, when is the deadline for the last registration for the primary? Because August 3rd is the primary, so
10
then,
days before the primary. So it's,
so during early voting. you're
Yes,
still
it's
gonna
during
have
early
registration.
voting.
Yeah.
Have we abandoned the idea of regional voting centers as we become more effective?
We haven't abandoned it, and I know that I'm due to do a modernization plan. I haven't been in the office full-time this past month, so, but the
I've seen you on Travels of the Rich and Famous, so yeah, no.
So, no, we haven't, but I don't think that's, for this election at this
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should still be on
And-
the table,
And Coach
Yeah,
Pat,
it should
I
be.
probably
don't,
sooner than later.
Commissioner Pat, so at this time, I don't know about even, I'll need to come back and ask you guys about doing that, the regional vote centers for to start it at a gubernatorial. I mean, that, for us,
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to do that or wait until the 28th. Yeah.
So just since we're still, we're talking about regional voting, what is the concept? Just for public
think
information.
the-
Not that we're going to implement it, but
Yeah.
it's an idea that we want to keep on the table.
Well, I'm sure Maria knows this in more detail than I do. I believe the concept basically is a combination of factors. One, the availability of early voting, and then having the electronic machines in the precinct that provide basically instantaneous tabulation. And so the need for precincts, individual precincts, diminishes there. And given the expense of the electronic setup, that we would go to regional voting centers, not village voting centers.
So we can
Yeah.
cut it from 21 polling sites to about as
Ah.
little as 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Question, Mr. Chairman? So with the additional 6 precincts, you're going to need more precinct officials?
That's correct.
Will you also be needing more staff?
Not really, because we've already projected 20 temporaries for,
Yeah, but you're picking up an increased workload.
so just on election day. So the 20, even with this, the 20 temporaries that we projected, starting in May, we will be okay even with the increase
Additional.
of the additional precincts. Thank you.
Just want to make sure you have enough people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the challenge will be the precinct worker,
Yeah, the precinct officials, yeah.
precinct officials. Okay, any further questions?
Just,
So-
and then ultimately, if we do go, I don't know that it'll have support. Commissioner Kin is rolling in his grave right now, hearing us even talk about it. But it will reduce, regional centers would reduce the need for this recruitment of workers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of steps to get there,
Yeah,
but
right.
do you need a motion for this? So we entertain a motion to accept the precinct realignment affecting 5 villages, as noted here, with the additional precincts to be added to those villages to accommodate the primary election as well as the general election.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move a motion to approve the precinct realignment in the following villages: Jotnia 1, Chalampago 1, Manilao 1, Dedidu 2, and Jigo 1 additional precincts.
I think Delta's just one, right? Yeah, Delta's just one.
I'm sorry, Manilao's 2,
Yeah, Manilao's
Dedidu's
2.
1. Added backwards.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Canala to accept the realignment plan. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Orsini. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, moving on.
Sir, so we've taken care of the
online,
monthly voter by
yeah.
precinct and the precinct realignment. So online motor voter registration, that continues to pick up. That's on page 25. So from motor voter, we've added 166 new voters. That's
For the more-
already reflected in the February 25th report.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? What is our projection for total voter registration for the
Last
primary?
last
Or
time
60,
we did
right?
60. yeah.
60,000.
60,000, so we're looking at 60,000 again. And we may be surprised by beating out the gubernatorial with this mayoral elections because we have lots of contests in a few, we have contests in a few of the villages.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to item D, monthly financial report.
On
Page
page
27.
27, yeah. So, the appropriation, sir, was for 1.1, but also in the budget, there was, there's an section in the budget that says that we can, the governor, there's up to $400,000 that can be given to the Guam Election Commission. Because we've issued out the IFB, we're getting prepared to start asking for the $400,000. And we hope one of our commissioners will be able to help us get through that process.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? And when are you going to need this fund?
So April 6th is when when we award the bid. So right around there. And so we're going to start to go through the process. This is a new process for us since we don't go through BBMR. So we'll get the guidance of the governor's office to figure out, to request for that money. And we are going to start looking at it next week.
Okay. Let's move on to item E, Office of the Inspector General.
Audit is
Audit.
ongoing. It should be closed by April, is what I'm told.
Any
No,
surprises or issues on that?
No, the one thing that we're looking at is if you remember, there were five findings, and the one thing that the Inspector General in-house is looking at is to provide the documents for expenditures for meals for overtime.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? Item F, the 2023 financial disclosure statement.
Those are,
Filings. That's attached, right?
due, oh yeah, it's on page 32. Financial disclosure statements are due April 22nd. We have an updated list for you starting on page 32. And our officials can also request for extensions, and they're automatically granted up until October 19th.
Okay, any questions? That's all for our executive director's report.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on to old business. Campaign Finance Committee.
Okay, so as you know, one of the bills that is being considered in the session is our campaign finance report scheduling. So that has been referred back to committee as of today. And that's all I have to report on that. The organizational reports are coming in as the candidates file.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, item B.
So I followed up with the Democratic Party of Guam, and yesterday I spoke with the chairman. So they had challenges. The reason we haven't heard from them is they had challenges with their email. So they wrote to us and they said that they're going to have a meeting in April. And this has to do with the open or enclosed primary. But even with that, correspondence, we also had sent the correspondence for the primary elections. So both the chairman of the Democratic Party and the secretary, I spoke with the secretary today, I spoke with the chairman yesterday, and they're going to get back to us promptly.
And this is for whether they want to proceed with the,
Open and closed
Closed primary
primary.
or
And
open.
if you remember, the last thing we were asking was a signed, part of the signed bylaws, because what we,
Resolution or
yeah,
something.
yeah, we didn't get a signed one.
in order to proceed to, because they wanted us, the commission, to come up with the rules and regulations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, counsel, you have anything to add?
Well, I think the deadline needs to hurry up. Only because we have to have the
That's only
AAA
days,
process and then
Yeah.
wait 90 days. And then it goes
And
to the
I
legislature.
think we had stated that the latest would be this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
everyone's aware of what
Okay.
our deadline is.
I'll let him know.
But they're not having their meeting until April.
Yeah, but they were aware last time, and then we had this, our first letter went out in September of last year, November of last year. So, and we kept, we put it in front of you, and their major challenge was the email fiasco with the party.
So what happens in April when they agree that they want to have a closed primary?
We'll make them aware, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some time frames here that's,
Yeah.
we're getting close to, not already.
But the last resolution that, that they submitted to us back in 2022, that resolution said that they rescinded the resolution on the closed primary. But our question with legal counsel advises that the rescinding of the amendment was not signed. But they came back and told us that we weren't going to, they wanted an open primary at that time.
Okay. Just keep us updated. We just don't want to be caught with our pants down here.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to election manual update, item C.
That's still on there, but we had reported that we won't do
Yeah,
it
we
until the
won't.
26th.
Yeah. Okay. Item D, modernizing the election process through the
And
e-book.
yeah, asking Mr. Chair to table that until the next meeting.
So we'll table item D, which is the e-poll books, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to item E, the competitive grant
Okay.
application.
So the Elections Administration class is on the schedule at the university for the summer session C. It'll start in early July and end the last day of August. So with the session out, UOG is helping us recruit for the class. As you know, the grant will cover the cost of tuition for the 3 credits. So we hope these students that we recruit will, we want them to be precinct officials for the primary election and on to the general. And then the fall schedule is not out yet, but I just confirmed with the university that it'll be on the schedule for the fall as well.
Okay, any questions or comments? Commissioner Seaver?
Mr. Chair, I apologize if I don't have a question on E. I do have a question, if I could go back to D for just a moment. Maria, I understand we've tabled the modernizing election process item. How long can we keep this on the table without taking action if we want to take modernization steps before the next election?
Let me answer your question with how long first, okay? So we had already talked about that regional vote center and says, I'll come back to you and ask you if you want to do it for the 26th or wait until the 28th. One immediate thing with the modernization are those universal ballot marking devices. We have those already, and we came into a dilemma with the whoever's in the majority appearing first in the senatorial race, and it took a while to go to the Republicans. So maybe immediately, what I'd like to discuss or propose to the commissioners is extensive education campaign to let them know about these. And those ballot marking devices, if you remember, was well used in the primary election. So we want to be able to use it again in the general, both the primary and the general election. And if we just have a big campaign that says, hey, the Republicans are, please go further, the Republicans, and I'll lay out that education campaign. With that stuff, I want to deal with almost immediately so that the commissioners will be okay with us using it for this coming primary and general election. That by itself will speed up even the voting process at the early vote center. So some things that we can take a look at is to include in the, if they opt to use those machines, is to include in the instructions to the voters who want to use that machine, please know that you have to scroll down all the way to, you know, to get to the Republicans for the senatorial slate. We looked at buying the other one where both columns will
Side by
appear.
side.
Right, side by side. Okay, I can tell you in the next meeting, because I really want to proceed with that part, is that my initial, or I've been looking at them, and what we want, they're huge. First of all, they're huge. And so we'll need more space in the early vote center if we're going to use those, and then the storage space. So I want to continue to use the 10 universal marking devices that we have, but I want to ask the commissioners to consider using it for both the primary and general with the extensive education campaign, and that we can upgrade and update. But even at this point in time, there's no upgrade to change how the candidates appear because of the required coding and programming of the ballot. We are restricted to the presentation of the candidates by law. The ballot has to appear like that, by column, right? We all know that. So with that said, in coding and programming the ballot, the way we went through it a lot in 2022, and we're limited to that kind of coding programming, where it's, you know, it comes down that in that slate. So again, I want to say that I want to propose that we do a full education campaign, and if we do and you accept it by the next meeting, we can proceed to buy more, and people are using and continue to buy those machines to use them. Those machines were done for ADA, for the persons with disabilities to be able to vote independently. And that said, people with no disabilities are supposed to be able to use those machines, and that's why they're called universal voting machines.
Yeah, I mean, I know that was the issue in the last election,
Yeah.
and we, as Republican representatives, received a lot of pushback from our party as to why, because most voters won't scroll down, you know, and I'm not sure if an education campaign is going to solve that. But it's going to be another issue this election, I'm sure.
I recall us discussing several options that I think you've touched on. The one that seemed to make the most sense was a larger monitor, so you could have the whole ballot on the monitor at once. The other was, and I think ESS was not keen on this, but to randomly present one party first and the other party second, so that not every ballot would, so some people would get a ballot that had Republicans on top and Democrats on the bottom if we had to do the scrolling, and others would get Democrats on top and Republicans. And that would only, I think, actually have to be done for the senatorial race.
And for the general only, right?
Yeah.
Or both? Only, right, only for the general. Right, yeah.
Yes. only
Okay.
for- Yes.
And I'll explore that with ES&S before the next meeting. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, so
I
how
have-
it appears on the paper ballot, you know, I guess the majority party is on this side, so.
Okay, that part is not in law.
Right,
That's a gentleman's agreement from even before Ken Paris's time.
yeah.
So if we go to that, we may be, and I'll check with legal counsel, say, okay, so if you want to, you know, randomly, right? So we will randomly have both types of ballots.
No.
Yeah, both types of paper ballots if they choose to vote on a paper ballot, right?
Well, I think it's not really much of an issue on the, well, I don't know, I'll let the parties say. I didn't think
Yeah.
it was an issue on the paper
Yeah,
ballot.
the problem is if the coding and programming is driven by the way it appears on the ballot, on the paper ballot.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
We have to almost match that.
Okay, so,
The question is, why is the Democrats always on this side,
Yeah,
the Republicans on this side?
okay,
So on that
that's,
machine, that's what we wanted, right? It's to be
Right.
fair, but
yeah.
Yeah.
theoretically, I guess
So-
you couldn't do that.
So on the paper ballot, we know traditionally, it's a gentleman's agreement that whoever's the majority in the legislature appears on the left. That's not a law. So that, we have, the commissioners have a chance to change it. So it may mean that paper ballots because, again, the coding and programming is driven by how the paper ballot appears. It may be that the paper ballots may be randomly, may be printed two different ways, with the Democrats on the left and with the Republicans on the left on another side.
Maria, can you clarify what's the requirement in law you were talking about?
The law says that they be in columns. Yeah. Now, who goes on the left, or who goes on the? Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, or we can flip a coin, and,
Yeah,
it's to the left or right, or,
yeah, yeah, or draw cards, yeah.
instead of, because,
Okay.
I mean, gentlemen's agreement, the Democrats may always be the party majority, and that's
Yeah.
unfair to the minority
Yeah,
party.
right. Commissioner Ricky, the issue last time on the electronic machine was that it couldn't, am I right? It could not just, in order for the font to be large enough for people like me to read it, they could only, for the senatorial, they could only display one party at a time. And.
So you have to
and-
scroll down.
And-
And so it was the Democrats who were on top and
Yeah.
the Republicans figuratively on the bottom.
Yeah, and I think,
Yeah,
and I think it was even only 5 at a time, right?
Yeah, or
Each
something.
screen
yeah,
was
right,
5 at a
right,
time,
yeah,
So
So it
whoever
took 5.
the Republican voter that used those machines
yeah,
called us and complained
yeah,
that they wouldn't know that the Republicans were down here unless they
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
scrolling. If you hit 15, that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what we're looking at is trying to get the process where, when we do the voting side by side, Democrats on one side, left or right, it doesn't matter. It's a material, we can make it reflect what the ballots reflect, and
Yeah,
that's where you have parity.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that what we're looking
Okay.
at, right?
No,
No, not for
No?
this one,
not for this one,
Not-
because of
no.
the
yeah.
the cost and the,
This one, we're gonna do the same thing, right? But the new ebooks that we're gonna be looking at, we're gonna try to find one that can be side by side.
For 2028 or so,
Yeah, we don't
yeah,
have to do
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you,
because
yes.
these are bigger machines you're talking
Bigger
about.
machines,
bigger machines.
storage,
They
yeah.
made a presentation to us, and,
Yes.
they told us that, they could do it, but it would cost like
Yeah.
it would cost an enormous amount of money that we weren't prepared for.
And hopefully, technology will advance so that it won't be so big anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussions on that? Okay, item F.
Okay, so we're getting ready
Secret
to,
grant.
get it released. Okay, so now G, any questions on F? Okay, so G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O have all been discussed in the session, this session. So on On the write-in votes, it did go to the third reading file, so they'll vote for that. On the
And this is to publish the write-in.
write-in votes, yeah.
names.
Write-in names, yeah. And so H is the public auditor and the attorney general. That also went to the voting file.
And this is to move them to the general election automatically.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then I is to just legal, put it in code that the GPD will be involved with the electioneering. In the past, as you know, they were not involved with helping us enforce the 100.
They were involved, but they didn't have enforcement.
No, they were not involved.
They were not involved.
At all.
Weren't they at the precinct?
Only for ballot security.
That's what I'm saying, they were at the precinct, but they weren't participating in the enforcement.
Of the
The
electioneering.
Electioneering.
Yeah, they
You know,
weren't.
if you said, hey, listen, there's people that are standing out there by the gate, and they're obviously.
They were not involved.
Yeah, they weren't involved.
Yeah.
So this one is changing.
Yes, yeah.
That
So
changed.
that's what I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's in the third reading file. Okay, so that's up to I. So the one on provisional file, the provisional ballots, that failed to go to the reading file.
And what is this bill trying to do with the provisional ballots?
So instead, the law says now that we have to count the provisional ballots by the 10th day.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we always have to do is run to the post office for the absentee ballots, because we have to give them until 5 o'clock to receive at the post office. Come back to the office, make sure our list is correct for both provisional and absentee, and do it. So what we want to do is not limit us to count it on the 10th day, maybe on the 11th day. So I thought they came to almost a consensus of saying within 15 days. But it failed to go to the third reading file.
Go back.
Yeah. No, this one just failed to go, it wasn't referred back to
Oh, yeah.
committee.
So just to provide clarification, just my former life, I was at the
Yes.
legislature. So because those bills 217, 218, and 219 failed to go into the third reading or the voting file, they're considered in the inactive file now.
But Commissioner Ricky, there is a chance that they can, that the sponsor can go back, right, and ask to reconsider
He
in
would,
this session?
he would have to notice the body in this current session that he's going to vote, or he's going to motion to reconsider in the next session, the actions of the body.
Okay, so that's up to L. Those failed. The L is the changing the,
It failed, or they just didn't vote on it, or it didn't have
no,
the
it
votes?
failed to go to the third reading file. And the question there was, there were two parts to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then M was already enacted, okay? So then N is referred back to committee. And that was about the quarterly reporting of the
Reports, yeah.
campaign finance. Okay?
Okay, any questions on these bills? All right, let's move on to item O. This is the GVB public official financial disclosure issue, right, that Senator Tadegui had brought to our attention?
Legal counsel?
I haven't heard anything.
Either. But- Yeah, but the complaint,
I haven't got a complaint.
yeah, Attorney General contacted us, but nothing else came through.
Oh, so the Attorney General contacted the Guam
Yeah, they
Election Commission as a
contacted-
follow-up to this letter?
Well, apparently, Senator Tydegui filed a complaint with the AG's office. So there was an investigator assigned,
Okay.
and the investigator contacted us to ask questions. And we really had nothing else to say other than our job is to collect and transmit.
And I guess the issue was that we weren't requiring the GVB Board of Directors to file a financial disclosure as opposed, they're filing the conflict of interest, but the financial disclosure was not being
Yeah, and that's
filed,
not the
right?
GEC's purview.
Yeah,
And I believe, based upon the Attorney General's opinion that was sent to us, that the only thing the Guam Election Commission does is transmit. As long as they
Documents.
transmit the documents to Guam Ethics, and if no one files, they need to report that to the AG's office.
anyways, so there's an investigator had contacted the Guam Election Commission, that's where they're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any questions or comments on that? If not, we'll go to item P, the Early Vote Center invitation to bid.
So it was
Issued, right?
issued, and it was announced in the paper. So far, we have Ducit, GFT, Leo Palace, and, Yeah. Guam Federation of Teachers.
What federation?
Picked up, I don't know. Yeah, we're not, they haven't submitted anything yet. And then, so, Agana Shopping Center was going to pick up a packet, but then they wrote to us immediately and said they were not going to submit a.
So you have packets, who picked the packets?
Ducit, GFT, and Leo
Ducit.
Palace.
Greyhound Park.
No, no,
And Weston? Did not
no,
Either. That was last time.
I wish.
Okay. And when is the?
April
deadline for
6th.
this? April 6th.
Oh, April 5th, I'm sorry. Okay, so for this, for the invitation for bid, I'm asking for evaluation committee for both. The letter Q is the request for proposal. Instead of sending it to legal counsel for review, I'd like to establish evaluation committees for both, for the invitation for bid and the request for proposal, so that you can take a look, so that the evaluation committee for the request for proposal will take a look at it before we send it to legal counsel for legal review. So we normally have 3 on each committee in the past.
We have 3. We had 3 from each.
So Tony Gubentato said I talked to her today, and she said she'll do one, whatever committee she needs to be on.
Okay.
So there's one. So I need, even a commissioner can be on both committees, if
Yeah.
that's what you're asking.
Okay, so you just want to
Yeah,
set that up?
yes.
Okay.
Are you going to be?
Yeah.
So which one?
Put me anywhere.
Okay. You want to be on 2?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's fine.
so you'll be on 2. Pat? Evaluation for IFB and for legal counsel RFP.
There's 3.
Okay, legal counsel? Okay. So legal counsel would be Jerry and Pat. I need one more.
And Ricky.
Oh, yeah,
Commissioner
okay, there,
Singh.
Ricky. So, okay. So that's for legal counsel,
For legal
okay?
counsel.
And then for the early vote center.
Early Vote Center.
I can do Tony and Joe
Commissioner Joe.
and Benny?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay, man,
Right.
I didn't talk to Commissioner Joe Meno, but for this, if this is okay, I'd like to leave it
Yeah.
at this, okay? So I'll repeat again for everyone. So for the IFB, for the vote center, it's Tony Gumetauta, Vice Chair Joe Mofnes, and Commissioner Benny Pinala. For the legal council RFP, it'll be Chairman Jerry Crisostomo, Commissioner Pat Seville, and Commissioner Ricky Orsini. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. There's only two, right, so far? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, any other old business?
Oh, we're finished, I think. Well, oh, one more minute, I think. So, new business, sir?
Yes. Moving to new business?
So new business, A, B, and C. Those were the ones that we were invited to. A was the one, the Senator Fisher, and I sent you all the correspondence from legal counsel about the Supreme Court ruling. Okay, yeah. And then B and C were the ones that we were invited to that we did not participate on the cybersecurity and emergency meetings. And that's it.
Okay, any questions, comments on those? Okay, moving on then to legal counsel's report.
There's no update.
Any update on that?
Mr. Chair, no. Other than it's going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't.
Okay, let's move on then to public comment. You have any public?
Oh, no.
Okay, our next meeting then is April, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at-
Sir, as the state election official for the EAC and Anna is the local election official, the U.S. Election Assistance Commission is having a meeting, and they take care of everything, on April 16th. So the third Thursday is Wednesday, April 18th. So if we can do it before that, if that's okay.
Before the, you're talking about
How
before
about
the
April
18th?
11th? Yeah.
April 11th, Thursday, April 11th.
Is that okay?
Is that all right
Ricky,
with
is
everyone?
that okay? Okay.
Just before the 16th. Okay, so our next meeting of the commission will then be on Thursday, April 11th at 5:30 here at the commission conference room. Okay, any other business? Is there a motion to adjourn? Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn. Second? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank
Opposed?
you,
Okay, This
Commissioner.
meeting is adjourned until next Thursday.